What's up, YouTube fam? It's your boy Jamal back again. Today, I'm going to talk about the importance of getting a credit limit increase and the importance of overall having higher credit limits. Okay, a previous video already spoke about being able how to obtain a credit limit increase and what factors into that, including how often you use the card, how frequently you pay the card off in full, and also your income. Those are three things that really impact your ability to get these credit limit increases. Of course, along with your credit score itself improving over time can also allow you to get a credit limit increase. So before we get too deep into this next phase about credit limit increases and their importance, again, let me introduce myself. I am Jamal, owner operator of Leveled Up Credit Services, and my goal is to help us live a debt-free, interest-free lifestyle through education and through leveraging our credit. So let's get into why having higher credit limits and getting and requesting credit limit increases are important. So if you've been following me and you're in the world of credit cards and even improving your credit, repairing your credit, credit restoration, rehabilitation, credit building, then you understand the importance of having low credit utilization. That's also just known as low credit usage. How do you find that? It is a simple calculation. It is the percentage of how much you owe on a credit card divided by your credit limits. So your credit utilization, you don't want that to be more than 30%. Here's what that look like. If you only have a credit limit of $100, 30% of 100 is $30. All right, so you don't want to go over $30. That's not a lot of money. Now, if you were asking for credit limit increases, or if you overall just have higher credit limits, instead of it being you being trapped or stuck at only being able to use $30 because you only have $100, what if you had $100,000? Now 30% of 100,000 is 30,000. That's a lot more leverage to use. Let's say if you're growing a business. Okay, this is really helpful if you're growing a business, especially these days if you have an e-com business. So you have to pay for inventory, pay for the drop shipping, things of that nature, and then you have to be able to have that leeway that a credit card gives you, that grace period, to actually flip and sell that product. Same thing with real estate. If you are doing a rehab and you're using zero interest business credit cards, the higher and the more credit you have available on that credit card, the more you're able, of course, to afford for that particular rehab. And of course, the goal is to do your rehab, sell the property or refinance it for profit, and then pay off those credit cards. That's always the goal. And even if you are, let's say, not a business owner and just for regular consumer purposes, it's still great that if you have 100,000, you're able to use 30,000. Now, the average person you don't need to use or even carry a $30,000 balance for anything, but it is good to have, because now that you have so much available credit, you can put all of your daily, regular, everyday purchases on your credit card. And what this does is that since you're putting on your credit card, certain credit cards are going to give you extra cash back or points or miles or something to that effect. Purchases also have extra purchase protection against damage, extended warranties. They even have, a lot of credit cards even have protection against their items being stolen or lost. if you make a purchase with that particular credit card, right? And so it just allows you to operate a little more freely, because now you're able to just put all your bills on a credit card, maybe one or two, without overextending yourself. Because let's say on a month-to-month basis, your bills are only $3,500 a month. You still have all this other money left over because you have $100,000. But since you're budgeting and you stick to your budget and you're just using your credit cards to maximize what you're spending, you're looking good. Plus, if you got $100,000 and you're only spending $3,500 a month, it looks like you're only using 3% of your available credit. And with credit utilization, the sweet spot to maximize your score is 1 to 9%. So imagine at any given time, you're only using 3% of that 100,000. That's amazing. That is exactly where you want to be at, and exactly how you want your credit report to look. Plus, when you have a higher limit, right, and you're operating within your budget, but you're using your credit cards as almost like an added barrier of protection, the credit card company is going to see that you're using this credit card or multiple credit cards responsibly. They're like, okay, they're putting spend on there, they're paying it back in full every single month, or they're making a very generous payment on that purchase every single month. Even when you have emergencies that come up, things of that nature, even if you have an emergency savings and things of that nature, you still have this huge gap because you have available credit. You can still put that emergency on your credit card and then take the money from your emergency savings and pay off the credit card. Again, it just adds extra leverage, and now you're not scrambling necessarily to run to or gain access to that emergency bank account. Because if you're like me, my emergency account ain't that easy to get access to on purpose. So it's nice that when you have a card, you can swipe, do what you need to do, take care of it, and then you're basically reimbursing yourself for paying off the card using that those reserves if necessary. Okay, so these are some of the great things about having a higher credit limit. It gives you more leverage, more leeway on both the personal and the business side. Now, as far as like how often do you want to ask for a credit limit increase, you can ask for it, I would say, every 6 months. That's typically how often credit card companies will be reviewing your file to see if they're either going to give you more credit or, unfortunately, less credit. But you can ask for a credit limit increase just about every 6 months. And during this time, like I said, if you're using your credit card responsibly, you're going to get automatic credit limit increases along the way. So even if you're not at 100,000, let's say you're at 10,000, 3% of 10,000 is still $3,000. That could still potentially cover your monthly expenses. Okay, so that's still good, and that's why you want to keep getting more and more and more credit, because as your credit limits increase, you're getting more leverage, and as your credit limit increase, your buying power and your spending power increases without you going over that 30% mark. Like I said, 30% of 100 is only $30. 30% of 100,000 is 30,000. So that is a huge range, and you want to be on the higher end of that spectrum. Okay, so let me know your thoughts. How are you handling your credit limits? Do you have a lot of available credit? Are you working on building up your credit limits? How's that been for you? How's that journey been as someone growing their limits, or even as a person who has high limits? Are you in the garden? Let's chop it up. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell button, and leave a comment below. Let's chop it up. All right, y'all have a great one.